It's definitely like a new season we're entering. Time has changed, so now the days are getting longer. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome if you're new. Hi, my name is Shani, I'm 25 and I live and work in London as a consultant. So in this video, I'll be talking about rejection and how I dealt with rejection when I was applying for graduate jobs. And I just wanted to share the shifts in my mindset that I had when I was going through the application process, when I was receiving all of the rejections, and how I navigated through this, because I know that this is something that's so difficult for graduates or just anyone applying for a job overall. So I really hope that this video encourages you, and yeah, let's jump into it. Okay, so like 3 years ago, I was doing my first ever corporate experience in a big automotive company here in London, and I was doing placement year. So if you don't know what placement year is, it's basically the year between your second and third year at university. So here in the UK, we have these programs where you're encouraged to take almost like a gap year and go and work for a company, and then come back for the final year of university and finish your degree with a bit more experience, and perhaps maybe you could have transferred this internship into a graduate role. So I decided to go for placement year. I took a gap year. I stopped studying after my second year when I did my placement year for 1 year, then came back for my third year of university, which was also my final year. So when I was in my placement year, as I said, I was working for an automotive company. When it was almost like the end of the placement year, we had different presentations and talks, and were encouraged by our teams to go and apply for the graduate scheme at this company. And I was thinking in my head, this is such a great opportunity. I already know the people in this company. I already know what the culture is like, what the work ethics are like. So I was like, I think it would work very well if I was able to transform my placement into a graduate scheme, because I was already in the company. It would have been easier for me to do it. And also because I was already a placement student in the company, there was like a fast track process. So essentially we would skip a lot of the steps that someone applying from outside would have been having to go through. So I was very encouraged, and I was like, I definitely want to do this. I want to try and see how far I'm gonna go. I did that with the hopes of getting the job. So they sent us like a pack of materials that we had to prepare for the interview. There was like a case study on how to sell a new model car, or how to create the marketing plan of that model of car, something like that. It was like an analytical task. I had to use Excel. There was like a spreadsheet of data. I was very excited about it, and then we had to put everything into a slide deck, and the interview would be essentially presenting this in front of the HR manager and in front of someone from my, which felt very, from one side, comforting because I already knew who would be interviewing me, but from the other side I was like, you know, like, I'm from this team, so I really want to do well. I had mixed feelings about it. So I was like, I'm excited to do it, but I'm also nervous to do it. I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna do my best and I have a feeling that this is the best mindset to have about it. So give your best, but don't attach yourself too much to a job. So I prepared my slides, I prepared the deck. There were some hurdles along the way. I was given the wrong set of data, and then I was given the correct set like a day before the interview. So I had to work this long hours. I remember reaching out to different people in my team, different people in the sales team, the marketing team, just seeking their advice and asking for feedback on what I've created, because I really wanted to have this holistic view on my work so far from different parties in the business. I just like, and we were encouraged to do this, so I had a feeling that I'm doing everything right, and I had so much confidence. So on the day of the presentation, I had a mock presentation with my team, and I felt so comfortable because we were very close. So I felt very comfortable presenting in front of them, and this helped me break down the ice. So definitely, if you have the chance to have like a mock presentation, do it, because it breaks down the ice and you feel much more confident when the actual thing happens. So I had this presentation, and they gave me a quick feedback how I did, how the contents of my presentations are, and everything looked fine. So I was confident, and I was like, you know what, let's go, let's do it. My slot came, and I was ready to. So I walked into the room. So there was my manager of my team, the HR manager, and also one other manager, independent. So I've never worked with this person. They didn't know my work ethic, how I work, how I think, how I present, nothing. So they almost like were there for like an independent view of my problem. So I did my presentation. I felt confident about it. I felt very happy with my work. And then after the presentation, I was asked questions. And if you have watched my previous video, you know that this was the point where I learned one of the biggest lessons, that I shouldn't go in knowing everything. And it's okay to say, sorry, I'm not prepared for this, but I can come back to you by the end of the day with their answers. So I was asked questions, some of the questions I couldn't ask, and I think they were really testing me. How would I manage a real situation like that if I was presenting to a client, and if the client asked something that I wasn't prepared to answer? There were like definitely bits that I didn't do as well, but I also answered a lot of the questions that they asked me. So I think that went very well, and I felt very positive, but in my heart I didn't know whether I would get it or not. I feel like I was still at that point where I wanted it, but I didn't want it. Like I was happy either. However, I have a feeling that when you put your heart and soul into something, and as I said earlier, like when I'm working on something, I give my best, I give fully. I don't just do half work. Like even if it's something that I don't enjoy doing, like I'll still do it to the best of my abilities. Like I'll do it so that, because through my work I glorify Jesus, and I always want to do my best even if I don't like it. And it's okay, you can't like everything, but you can do your best, and your best doesn't mean that it's the right thing or it's the best of the best, but it's the best that you could do, and you can find peace in that. So after the interview, I still didn't know what was going to happen. I felt positive. I almost felt like I'll get it, but I wasn't sure. I almost like trusted the Lord, and I was like, Lord, whatever you decide me to do, I'll do it. Just, you know, it's all in your hands. A few days passed by, and I got a meeting in my calendar saying, hey, like with the HR person, like, why are you free at this time for a meeting? So I go to the meeting, and my heart is like pounding, and I'm like, like I feel so nervous. So I go in, and the lady's telling me, like, you know, like she almost like walked me through my performance, what I did, and then she's like, you know, unfortunately we decided not to offer you the role. And even though my heart felt neutral before this conversation, and I was like, if I get it, it'll be fine, if I don't get it, it'll be fine, when she said that to me, my heart sunk and my eyes like watered, and I was in my mind, I was like, no, I don't want to cry, like I need to be professional. And I was like, you know what, thank you so much, thank you for this, I appreciate that. And then I had a conversation with my mom right after this, and I called her and I was like, Mom, I didn't get the job, I didn't get it. And my mom, she's an incredible person, and she said, and so what? She literally like pointed out the truth. My mom said, and so what, like you weren't tied to the job, weren't you? Like it wasn't like something that you wanted very badly, right? So this made me feel so good. And then in my heart, this is where I made the decision, and I was like, I'm going to stand up. I'm not going to allow this rejection to define how I'm feeling, to define my worth. And I was like, I'm gonna stand up, I'm going to shake the dust off of my feet, as Jesus says in the Bible, and I'll see how much I can take away from this situation. Because I refuse to walk away defeated. I refuse to walk away as if this defines my worth or who I am. I refuse to walk away empty-handed. So do you know what I did? I reached out to the 3 people who were in my interview and arranged meetings with each one of them separately, and I asked them, because they gave me like, I think they gave me like a sheet with the feedback or something like that, and I was like, okay, on this one you scored me X amount, what can I do in the future to reach the highest? Or what did you think about me in my performance? Like where can I improve? If there's one area where I can improve, like what would be the best area where I can improve? So this almost gave me like a 360 feedback, and I felt so empowered after these sessions. But I also felt so empowered because I managed this situation so well. I just felt like throughout the whole situation I just mirrored what Jesus would do, and it made me so confident. Looking back at it now, I feel so good, because first of all, this job wouldn't have been the best fit for me. I wouldn't have been the happiest, never applied as vigorously as I did if I didn't have the job. So I didn't get a job. I did the feedback thing with the different assessors. I left the company on very good terms. I was very happy. I had the best team. I really enjoyed working in the company, but I felt in my heart that I was ready for something, and I'm so pleased that the Lord shut this door, because he knew what he's preparing for me. And at that moment it looked so dark, and it looked very upsetting and very discouraging, but he knew what he's preparing for. Like if I had received a job, I would have never have had the extra year of experience. I would have never been consulting. I would have never been in my dream job. None of that would have happened. However, now, even though that situation looked so bad, he made the best out of it, and he developed such a character in me that I would have never had if I had just got the other job. So the reward that I got from that rejection is so much bigger than if I went and just got this job that I thought that I wanted so bad. Fast forward, it was time to apply for graduate schemes. And graduate schemes, if you're in the UK, you know that graduate schemes are so competitive to get. So essentially, graduate scheme is a program, usually 2 to 3 years, where you rotate around the business. Usually for like every 6 months, you rotate around the business. So if you're in like a, let's say like a commercial company, like fast moving consumer goods, cosmetics, whatever, you can move, let's say you can do 6 months in sales, 6 months in marketing, 6 months in human resources. If you're in like a consulting company, you can move around different projects, or you can study for 3 years alongside working. So the whole idea of graduate scheme is that you can rotate around the business and find out what you're best at, but also grow your knowledge about the industry and the company that you're working at. So it's very competitive, because this is the best sort of like positions to get if you're just getting out of university and don't know what you want to do. And because it is such a sweet entry to the career and corporate world, it is highly competitive. Highly, because there's so many graduates that exit the corporate world every year. So imagine every single one of them applying for these roles, which are so limited, even though there are so many companies out there. When I was applying for my jobs, I was receiving so many rejections. And even though you may not get attached yourself to a certain role in terms of your heart and feelings, when you get the no and when you get this cold email, oh, thank you so much for applying, but unfortunately when you can't progress you further, like it brings a slight bitterness in your heart. And this, like, you start questioning like, oh, why didn't I could have done so much better than I missed out on something. I could have improved in that. I could have said that point a bit more clear. And I had to just stop, because all of these thoughts were going through my head after every single no. I was listening to a podcast by a lady called Natalie Fisher. I will link her podcast down below, but she was talking about how to deal with rejection. I think she's like a career coach, and she gave me such a big insight on how to navigate this world of rejection. And I guess this can be applied when you're going through job roles and job rejections, but also in any other situation in life. So she was saying that imagine rejection is a person's choice. So you go to a shop and you can't like everything. So let's say you want to buy a dress. You can't like every single dress. Like you prefer one dress better than the other. One dress would fit better than the other. And she said it's the same thing with job rejections. Like one company is gonna like you, the other is not gonna like, and vice versa. You may like one company, but you may not like the other one, even though you thought that you liked. And it just brought so much clarity to me, and it helped me realize that everybody has a choice, and their choice doesn't determine your value or your abilities or how much you can bring to a certain business. This was maybe the most revolutionary piece that I have heard by someone, and I definitely encourage you to listen to the podcast, because she explains this so much better. But it's essentially a choice. As humans, all of us make choices every single day, and recruitment, job selection is nothing different than that. You just make decisions, you just make choices, but this doesn't determine someone's value. It doesn't determine someone's worth or abilities. It's just a choice. It's super objective choice, and there is nothing personal attached. So yeah, so these are sort of like my biggest ways of dealing with rejection. Throughout the process, I also realized, and I was reminded, that no matter what I'm doing, no matter what my role is, what my job title is, how much money I have, what my net worth is, this does not define who I am. My identity is not found in these earthly things. My identity is found in Christ, and I just want to encourage you with that, because it's so easy to get lost in what we're working and be defined by, oh yeah, I'm a project manager, oh yeah, I'm a consultant, oh yeah, I'm a doctor. Yeah, this is great, but this does not define your identity. Your identity is not found in your job, in your career, family. Your identity is found in Christ, and I really want to encourage you with that, because I was released and I was free when I found out about it. Yeah, if been through rejections, and if you found the coping mechanisms, please let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. But yeah, I hope that was helpful, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.